Hey there guys, we're taking a look at the Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5600H. Now this is running on the Beelink SER5 mini PC. Now this is a remaster of one of my favorite games of all time. This was pretty much my childhood here, and the performance that we're getting here is pretty rock solid. You can see on the screen right now the graphics settings that I went with. Pretty much I just set the texture resolution all the way to the highest and left everything else at what it defaulted to, which was usually just either the lowest settings, or some things were set to normal or medium or just turned on. And in general, the level of performance that we got like this was pretty decent. You certainly could actually adjust some of these graphics settings if you want to hit a rock solid 60 FPS average all of the time, with your 1% lows being as close to 60 as possible. And if you go with everything set to the absolute lowest, you can even get a above 60 FPS average. But I think that this is a nice balance in terms of performance and visuals, especially if you're playing through the single player. And as I said before, this was my childhood. I played through the campaign of this game so many times. The campaign and the multiplayer of this was pretty much my first video game where I really genuinely became addicted to. As a kid, I was a very chubby kid, and I ended up actually losing a lot of weight, not from working out or anything like that, but because I pretty much stopped eating more than once a day because I was just so addicted to playing this game day in and day out. The summer after this game came out, I pretty much just sat there playing this game for like 12 hours a day, and being able to come and revisit the game at such a boost in visual quality is pretty significant. And it's kind of crazy to think that it's running this well on a mini PC without a graphics card, and visually it still looks incredible here. We're not running it at the maximum graphics settings, but we kind of just don't need to. It's already a vast improvement over what the original game was like. The only thing that I probably would change is actually just turning off FXAA. I think that it does make the game look a little fuzzy here, but it is one of those things that it kind of just had on by default, and I didn't really think about it until I was pretty much in the game and started to notice that things were just a little fuzzy here and there. But that seems to just be the effect of FXAA, and you can just turn that off if you want to. In most games when I'm actually playing them, I do tend to turn it off just because I hate the way that it looks most of the time, but that is a personal preference thing, and it doesn't really affect performance much at all. In general though, after going through this mission here, the final result was a FPS average of 64 with a 1% low of 42. In general, it is going to be a very, very nice and playable experience for pretty much the entirety of the time. And I did end up doing actually multiple missions just to make sure that there was no anomalies in any of the different maps or anything like that, and in general, everything kind of just stayed around that range. There would be certain areas sometimes where the FPS will drop closer to in the like high 30s, but in general, the level of performance that you're going to get is more than decent, and if you don't have an FPS counter up, you're really not going to care too much about any of that. So in general, it is a fantastic way to play this game if you've never played through the campaign of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Back when I was a kid, this was just called Call of Duty 4, and it is of course what launched the Modern Warfare series that now even has its own remake series. It is probably one of the most iconic Call of Duty games, and it is one of my absolute favorites. The era of this game, Call of Duty Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2, is pretty much the most defining era for me when it comes to Call of Duty, and just being able to revisit one of my absolute favorite games and see it in such a vastly improved way is weirdly nostalgic, because as a kid, this is kind of almost how you see the video games, you know, like your kid brain kind of like looks at this stuff and it's like, yeah, this is how the game looked in my mind. But then you go back and actually play the original version, and you'll see a vast difference in terms of visual quality. So just in general, I'm really happy to actually have been able to play this, and I had a lot of fun, and I actually ended up playing it for a lot longer than I normally do when I test games, just because it was one of those things where I was having such a good time. Now you can sometimes find this game on sale for as low as $10. Most of the time though, you'll find it around $20 to $15 on sale, and at that price point, it really is such a great experience. I haven't actually jumped into the multiplayer or anything like that, so I can't actually comment on how that's going to end up performing, but at least the single player here is just so incredibly good, and it performs so incredibly well. And again, I'm blown away that this is running and looking this well on a system that has absolutely no graphics card. The 5600H really is a powerhouse, and especially if you're looking to play through older titles that you never got around to playing, you're able to get some incredible levels of performance out of a system like this. And for the price point that you can get these mini PCs, it's almost difficult to find anything that really compares to it without going through the used market and rolling the dice there. And especially when we're talking about a mini PC that pretty much fits in the palm of your hand. It's pretty much just like the ultimate little console where you're able to just play all of the games from pretty much different generations of consoles, from different eras of PC gaming, all in the palm of your hand. So if you're interested in picking up this mini PC, you can check it out down below. If you found this video useful or entertaining, please be sure to subscribe. Channel memberships are enabled on the channel if you would like to support that way. We do have a $1 tier now, and that greatly helps to support the channel. I really appreciate you watching and supporting the channel directly like that, and I will catch you in the next one.